Did you know that hundreds of thousands of migrant children have crossed the US border? Did you know that the United States government has spent billions of taxpayer dollars to place these vulnerable children with sponsors throughout the United States? Did you know that some of these sponsors are criminals who traffic these migrant children for labor and for sex? My name is Tara Rodas. I've been a federal employee for almost 20 years. In March of 2021, I volunteered to help the Department of Health and Human Services to place these vulnerable migrant children with sponsors in the United States. I believe children were sponsored by family members, and I thought the HHS Unaccompanied Children Program was a family reunification program. What I learned is shocking. In May of 2021, I was deployed to the Pomona Fairplex Emergency Intake Site in Pomona, California. I'm a teacher by trade, so I thought I would be helping children learn English and do puzzles and play games and help the children feel safe after their long, hard journey to the border. And in the beginning, that's just what I did. I colored, I did puzzles, I escorted children to meals, to doctor's appointments, and to meet with their case manager. Anything that came up, I volunteered to do. It was rewarding work because I wanted to help the children. But at the end of May, an urgent call for help went out to the volunteers. 10 people were needed immediately to help with case management. As always, I volunteered. I started in case management on May 24th. By mid-June, the federal case management team discovered suspicious sponsor activity. Sponsors were sponsoring at multiple addresses and receiving children from multiple sites. Then my team discovered there were apartment buildings with 30 and 40 unaccompanied children. There was one place in Houston, Texas, where there were more than 300 children in a few square miles. I learned that some of the sponsors were not even related to their children. Then someone emailed me the 2016 Senate report that outlined how children were trafficked through the program. They had evidence all the way back to 2016. I felt sick. It was hard to accept that the HHS Unaccompanied Children Program is government-sponsored, taxpayer-funded child trafficking. I came to help the children, not to send them to criminals and traffickers who could harm them. Our team learned how to report cases of suspected trafficking to the Office of Trafficking in Persons, and we helped the case managers to properly report cases so that children could be placed into long-term care and not be placed with criminals. But if you can imagine, it got worse. At the end of August, a DHS whistleblower came forward to Project Veritas with evidence of bad actors in gangs and transnational criminal organizations were sponsoring children. And these bad actors were involved in sex trafficking. I spread the word on the site. In just a few weeks, we found the first case of a sponsor with confirmed TCO affiliation. And this sponsor was attempting to simultaneously sponsor 2 children, one from the Fort Bliss Emergency Intake Site in Texas and one from our site in Pomona, California. Sadly, this wasn't very well received by people on the site. And after much consideration, I made the decision to reach out to a contact at the Department of Justice Office of Inspector General. This led to conversations with HHS Office of Inspector General. Now, these are what's called protected disclosures, meaning I can't be retaliated against for seeing something and saying something. But HHS found out and they retaliated against me. In less than 2 weeks, I was taken off the TCO case, falsely accused of wrongdoing. I was told I was going to be investigated. I was escorted off the site by security. My badge was taken. I have to tell you, I was terrified. And I wanted to do everything I could to protect the children. So I spoke with investigators when I got home and I tried to connect with the DH whistleblower through Project Veritas. Now, Project Veritas had received lots of tips that children were being trafficked through the program, and they said they could help. They actually put boots on the ground and started knocking on doors where there was suspicious sponsor activity. What they heard from the children is absolutely heartbreaking. A 16-year-old girl is being pimped out by a sponsor who claims she's the child's aunt. The child says she's never met this woman who's pimping her out. She had to run away. A 15-year-old girl, she had to quit school to work in a restaurant from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. to pay her debt to the cartel. In January of this year, 50 migrant children were found working graveyard shifts in slaughterhouses. Some of these children were middle schoolers. As hard as it is to see, we are witnessing government-sponsored, taxpayer-funded child trafficking. Be aware, child trafficking is real, and we all need to be concerned about it. We should call our congressmen, we should get involved. We should ask, where are the children? Where are the unaccompanied children?